Hello friends! The line of gasoline engines is formed by power units with a working volume of 1.6 liters, 120, 150, and 156 horsepower, 1.8 liters, 125 horsepower, and 2.0 liters with 140 horsepower. Those who prefer a turbo diesel can choose a 1.6 liter engine, 109 or 112 horsepower, or a 2 liter engine, 136, 150, and 163 horsepower. The 1.6e HDI engines are jokingly referred to as Citroen micro hybrids. They have a start-stop system and an energy recovery function during braking. The safest for the pocket are gasoline 1.8 and 2.0 liters of the EW series. They have a reliable and time-tested design. Although the motors do not demonstrate phenomenal performance and are not economical enough, they compensate for their shortcomings with durability and ease of maintenance. However, at high mileage, they are prone to oil consumption. Sometimes oil consumption reaches 1 liter per 10,000 kilometers. Due to the low cost of the car, almost no one dares to repair the engine. You should also pay attention to the operation of hydraulic valve lifters. The engines of the new generation of the EP, Prince, 1.6 VTI, and 1.6 THP series were prepared jointly with BMW. But they are not without drawbacks. These units had problems with the timing chain tensioner and the chain itself, which stretched prematurely. In addition, the sprocket was connected to the camshaft not with a tongue or groove, but with glue. Sometimes the connection loosened and the sprockets on the camshafts turned. Fortunately, this usually did not lead to the loss of the motor. Today, the defect should be already fixed. 1.6 TNR is equipped with direct fuel injection. This solution contributes to the deposition of sediment in the intake manifold and intake valves, which is felt by a drop in thrust. Interruptions in engine operation can be caused by a faulty timing solenoid valve, OCV, oil control valve. Solenoids are installed on each camshaft. There have been coolant leaks in the past. The malfunction was eliminated by tightening the cylinder head bolts. The thermostat could also fail. Additional problems are created by the bursting hot part of the turbine, and the 1.6 HDI met Euro 4 emission standards until 2010, had 2 camshafts and 16 valves. The engine is quiet, dynamic, and very economical. Sometimes the turbo diesel has been a concern due to sludge buildup. In addition to the irregularly shaped oil pan, the situation was exacerbated by leaky fuel injectors. Diesel fuel was mixed with engine oil and turned into a mass similar to fuel oil. The mess reached the cylinder walls, from where the piston rings sent it to the oil pan. As a result, the sludge accumulated and clogged the lubrication system. Most often, the patency of the oil supply line to the turbine was violated, which accelerated its wear. Prevention is to replace the gaskets under the nozzles and reduce the oil change interval. Since 2010, the 1.6 HDI began to comply with Euro 5 standards. The new version is no longer prone to sludge accumulation, although the shape of the sump has remained the same. This is due to the common rail injection system. Instead of reliable Bosch electromagnetic injectors, capricious piezoelectric Siemens ones began to be used. Defective injectors began to make noise. It is noteworthy that 1.6e HDI, although it appeared later, remained with Bosch electromagnetic injectors. An unpleasant surprise can also leave a cracked plastic engine oil dipstick. Retrieving its remains is no easy task. To avoid unnecessary problems in the future, it is better to purchase a new probe immediately after purchase. Citroen C4 Picasso turbo diesels have a so-called wet particulate filter. The soot burning process is controlled by the Aeolus additive package and not by a sharp increase in the portion of diesel fuel supplied to the cylinders. There is no problem of dilution of engine oil due to an excess of unburned fuel, and the filter is better tolerated by frequent trips over short distances. Replacing the FAP filter will most likely be needed after 180 to 200,000 kilometers. It is worth recalling that all diesel Citroen C4 Picassos received a particulate filter. In order to maximize the life of the system, you should try to fill the full tank. The system does not detect the amount of fuel well enough, and accordingly doses the aeolus additive incorrectly. The stock of the drug, as a rule, is enough for 130 to 160,000 kilometers. In diesel engines with high mileage, the EGR system may also require attention. Due to a faulty EGR valve, jerks occur, which, in the presence of a robotic gearbox, are often mistakenly interpreted as a clutch malfunction. A reliable 6-speed ASIN automatic transmission is found with the most powerful engine options, 2.0 16V and 2.0 HTI 163 horsepower. In weaker versions, an automated transmission designated ESG or CMP, BMP6, was installed as an option or in the base, depending on the destination market. This transmission is not the optimal choice. It changes gears slowly and sometimes requires repair due to worn bearings. Clutch also does not belong to the category of reliable. It happens that it needs to be changed even before reaching 100,000 kilometers, and replacement is an expensive procedure. This is due to the fact that after installing a new clutch kit, it is necessary to adapt the box, teach new threshold values, find clutch points. However, regular calibration will get rid of jerks and save traction. The clutch of a manual transmission usually reaches 150 to 200,000 kilometers. The 4-speed AIL4/DP0 can be found among petrol versions with 1.6 THP and 2.0 engines. Contrary to fears, the box does not cause serious trouble. The only weak point is the solenoid valves, which have to be updated every 60 to 80,000 kilometers. Structural miscalculation can lead to steering wheel vibrations at speeds of about 120 kilometers per hour, for example, when braking. The rear silent block of the lower front wishbone was too soft. Subsequently, the manufacturer began to install a more rigid silent block, which usually fixed the problem. Usually, the silent blocks of the front levers are handed over after 120 to 150,000 kilometers, and the rear beam after 150 to 200,000 kilometers. Ball bearings give signals after 80 to 120,000 kilometers. Significantly more expensive is the restoration of the air suspension of the rear axle, which is found on the most expensive versions, both in the regular and in the extended Picasso version. This is the so-called Nivomat, which includes a control unit, a compressor, 2 clearance sensors, and a pair of pneumatic elements. The latter are the weak point. When the air springs fail, some owners prefer to replace the rear air suspension with a conventional spring one. However, the system also has its merits. It is able to maintain the height of the stern regardless of the load. The second advantage is the ability to lower the rear edge for ease of loading. This is done with a button. The stern returns to its original position after exceeding the speed of 10 kilometers per hour or using a button. Front wheel bearings can make noise after 150 to 200,000 kilometers. With age, the rear brake mechanisms fail. Leaks are detected or the caliper wedges. Regular maintenance will help extend the life. In specimens older than 10 to 12 years, thresholds often begin to corrode, sometimes rotting to holes. From time to time, an electrician takes on a life of its own. Often, this is the fault of a faulty BSM fuse box, which floods with water from the windshield, for example, after an unprofessional repair. Cheaper but harder to fix are the various errors reported by the electronics. The car repair shops specializing in Citroen repair are the best to deal with the problem. Door locks can also fail, micro switches fail, and interruptions in the operation of the electric windows usually disappear after cleaning the contacts of the driver's power window control unit. After 200 to 250,000 kilometers, the stove motor may make noise or shut up. Soon, the radiator of the conditioner also surrenders. In the TUV C4 ratings, Picasso was in the bottom half of the list. Experts paid attention to frequent problems with lighting, suspension, braking system, and oil leaks from the transmission. Decra had a better opinion. With a run of up to 100,000 kilometers, the model did not deviate beyond the average statistics in the minivan segment. After 100 to 150,000 kilometers, the Picasso is less problematic than a typical representative in the class. Most often, worn pads and brake discs, lighting malfunctions, tired racks, and worn silent blocks were found. DEKRA reminded me of a thorough inspection of the windshield. If you know of other model malfunctions, be sure to write about it.